Are you looking to break into the fast growing field of clinical research? Or perhaps you're already in the industry and want to accelerate your career as a certified clinical research associate? If so, you're in the right place. The global clinical research industry is booming. With billions of dollars invested in new medical treatment and therapies, companies are constantly looking for skilled professionals to ensure clinical trials are conducted ethically, efficiently, and in compliance with the regulations. In this comprehensive CRA certification program, you'll gain the expertise needed to stand out in this competitive industry. Whether you're a student, a healthcare professional, CRC, or someone looking for a career transition, this course is tailored just for you. Some of the major highlights of this course would be to understand the basics of clinical research, learn how to monitor clinical trials effectively, understand various trial monitoring visits such as site selection visit, site initiation visit, interim monitoring visit, and closeout visit. Gaining hands on knowledge on essential documentation and reporting in clinical trial, CRA working, and practical skills required to succeed as a CRA, as well as get a career guidance and networking opportunity to succeed in the role of clinical research associate. Our instructors are industry experts with years of experience in site monitoring, ensuring that you receive top quality education and practical insights. Plus, you will also get access to real world case studies, practical tips, case scenarios, and valuable resources. So, are you ready to take the next step towards exciting and fulfilling career as a clinical research associate? If yes, enroll now and start a journey towards this certification and professional success today. So, hello and welcome to Advanced CRA Training Program. This is a very unique and special program because this is something which will enable you to become a very good CRA and establish yourself, your identity in the world of clinical research. Now, as you know, clinical research is a field which is growing leaps and bounds. And there, the position of clinical research associate or the CRA becomes very critical. This program is also special because it is designed by me and I have worked for more than 8 years as a CRA in the industry. So whenever you design a program for a particular position, it is very important for you to include all the aspects in one single certification, which will clearly help the learner understand each and every aspect of the job, as well as give you practical experiences, tips, and how to prepare for that particular position. In this certification, you would clearly get an understanding of CRA working, what is the role and responsibility, and overall how do you need to perform, what are the industry requirements, and which all topics are critical for you for that special CRA interview. And this particular position is also very lucrative because this is a launch pad for a very bright career. That is why it is very important for you to follow each and every lecture and reach till the end, because I have set the lecture to a linear curve where each and every lecture builds on the previous one. That is why this particular training program will give you and equip you with all the skills that is necessary to not only survive but thrive in this big industry. So let us see what exactly are we going to learn in this training program. So first and foremost, we will understand clinical research fundamentals. So a lot of you are changing your career and looking for a CRA position, but for that it is very important for you to have an understanding of clinical research fundamentals. So in this certification, we will also capture the basics of clinical research so that you are aware about the position and the industry. We will clearly understand the role of clinical research in pharma, medicine, biotech, and healthcare industry. We would be looking on clinical trial conduct and the role of various stakeholders to conduct an entire clinical trial, so that it can give you a landscape of all the activities that is being done in the clinical research and what your position as a CRA would be in the conduct of the entire clinical trial. We would also understand the global clinical trial market and what are the opportunity for us, because moving forward it is very important to understand whether a particular field, the career you are choosing, is going to have opportunity or not. And if there is opportunity in a career which is going to have a significant impact in your life, then understanding the global clinical trial markets and the opportunity it presents is very, very critical. We will also focus on how does a clinical research associate or a CRA works with various verticals in clinical research industry. These verticals can be clinical research operations, clinical data management, pharmacovigilance, regulatory affairs, biostatistics, medical coding, medical writing, and other fields which play a very important role in the conduct of clinical trial. So we will focus on clinical research fundamentals and then build upon it. Now that we have a basic understanding of clinical research, we will focus on role and responsibilities of a CRA. Now we will be targeting the role of a CRA and prepare ourselves according to it. First and foremost, we would be defining what exactly is a CRA. What is the role of a CRA in the conduct of the clinical trial, and what are the various responsibilities of a CRA as defined in ICH GCP, as per market standards, and as per the industry requirements. Then we will move on and understand how does the CRA interacts with various stakeholders. What is the CRA responsibility with various stakeholders, and how does he manage to become the fulcrum of the functioning of the clinical trial. Next thing, we would understand that why exactly is a need for a CRA in clinical research, and what happens when a CRA doesn't perform his or her duty, because that particular void will help you in understanding how critical this role is and what should be your conduct during the conduct of clinical trial. Next thing is, there is a lot of overlapping term when it comes to CRA. Some call it study monitor, some call it CRA. So we will clearly understand the distinction between a study monitor and a CRA. And last but not the least, we will understand the role of a CRA in terms of site monitoring in clinical trial, because CRA performing monitoring visit is one of the most critical aspects of the clinical trial. Therefore, understanding what exactly is monitoring right from the basic is very important, because until and unless you understand monitoring, you are not going to be able to perform monitoring visit. So that is about the role and responsibilities of a CRA. Then we move on to the next section and we understand site monitoring visit. So in this particular module, we will be focusing on the basics of monitoring. We will define what is site monitoring, what is the meaning of monitoring according to ICH GCP, according to industrial requirement. We will understand various methods of site monitoring and what are the requirements for you when performing as a CRA. Now, when you perform monitoring, there are multiple monitoring visit and each has its own different role and responsibilities, and CRA has to perform this independently. So it is very important for you to have a very basic and fundamental understanding of each and every visit. So we will be discussing site selection visit, site initiation visit, routine monitoring visit, and site closeout visit. All these visit will have different activities for the CRA to perform. Now, whenever you appear for the CRA interview, they will ask you about these visits. What does each visit signify? What all activities the CRA has to do? Until and unless you develop a clear understanding, you are not going to impress the interviewer or perform as a CRA. So it is very important for you to understand what is clinical trial monitoring or site monitoring and how a CRA conducts various types of monitoring visits. Now, once we have an understanding of clinical trial monitoring and various monitoring visit, we will focus on working as a CRA. Now, let us learn how does a CRA work. So we will look at real life CRA working in clinical research. What are the real life challenges? What are the responsibilities and how a CRA should work? We will also seek practical CRA operational requirements and experiences that I have gained and I have picked up from a lot of my colleagues in the industry that I'll be sharing. Along with that, the CRA working mechanism with various trial site is also a critical part of a function of a CRA. So how do you respond with your trial site? How do you make sure that the clinical trial runs to the optimal during the conduct of the trial, and how do you manage the expectations? So essentially CRA and site recruitment and enrollment are a critical part of a CRA functioning. So what are the roles and responsibility and how CRA should function during the most critical phase, that is site recruitment and enrollment in a clinical trial? Next up, we will understand what are the skill set requirement of a CRA. If you're looking to become a CRA, there is a very specific skill set that you need to develop. If you don't have now, we will focus on all the skill sets so that you have a clear understanding and expectation of the industry. And finally, we will be focusing on how does a CRA perform site management, because site management is a different beast and a different art. So how does a CRA perform monitoring visit? How does he manages the site? That at the fundamental level we are going to understand in detail. So from this module, we will get a very, very clear understanding how to work as a CRA in a clinical trial. Now, once we know how to perform as a CRA, we will see at what are the CRA career and challenges. Okay. So during the career of a CRA, there will be a lot of challenges and opportunity. So we will have a clear understanding and practical examples of various career opportunities that a CRA gets. What are the functional challenges that the CRA faces and how to cope up with them. We will also see how does the CRA role involves handling travel, because as a clinical research associate you would be traveling to a lot of site. At the same time, you have to manage the workload of other sites as well and ensure all of your sites are performing at the optimal level. So we will learn practically with my personal tips and industry requirements that how do you handle the CRA role. Okay, and how do you handle the travel according to it. So these are very, very different things to handle by a single person, and here you need practical insights from the industry experts. Next thing is we will do an assessment of the CRA workload in your workplace, that whenever you work as a CRA, what are the requirements and how you should perform according to it. Finally, we will see what are the industry requirements for a CRA, what is the job description, and how you qualify for that particular job. And last but not the least, time management and multitasking skills. Because when you go through this certification, you would understand that a role of a CRA becomes very, very critical and his time becomes very precious. So I will be explaining you various time management skills and multitasking skills, which will make you a very, very efficient and a high performing CRA. So that is about the CRA career and challenges. Once we have had a very clear understanding of monitoring of CRA career, CRA functioning, now we will start and prepare for the role of a CRA. Here we will start with interview preparation. We will have a detailed analysis of each and every question that they are going to ask you in the interview. We will also discuss what should be a model answer in that particular interview and what should be a strategy as a CRC, as a CTA or a junior CRA to go into the CRA role. We will also focus on outlining the CRA career roadmap, because once you get into the door, once you become a CRA, there are various positions, right from being CRA 1 to senior CRA, right up till project manager and way beyond. So it is very important for you not only to focus about CRA role, but also planning your career after the CRA role you get. We will also have a very clear understanding and description of the CRA career progression in the clinical research industry. So you would have very, very clear idea at the end of this certification about CRA roles, responsibility, requirement, interview preparation, and how to plot or how to have your career moving forward. So please make sure that you enroll in this certification and make yourself very, very capable to crack that CRA job and have a very bright career moving forward.